Happy Monday, everybody. I missed the drums, Scott. Not gonna lie, I missed the rat-a-tat drum cadence intro, but
I think it was too intense that we had.
It was a little intense. By the way, if you've stumbled across us, welcome. This is Back to the Window with Scott and Scott. I am your host, Scott Steehn, lead handicapper at winnersandwhiners.com.
And I'm your co-host, Scott Reichel, senior handicapper over winnersandwhiners.com.
Or as we call him now, Mr. NASCAR. That's right. JC Stone asked me if I had Chastain. I did not, but one of the Scotts did, and it wasn't me. I had Reddick, who kind of got little fucked around.
Well, you had Reddick and Allmendinger, so you were right there.
I had two of the top three going into the last lap, and finish with Dick is what I got.
Last lap. I think it was last turn.
Yeah, right. Very good. The Kansas Jayhawks come out second half strong, like Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. Scott, the over-under on the Will Smith reference was 90 seconds. Congratulations to everybody that bet the under. Well done.
Yep.
Well done.
Didn't take too long. By the way, back to Chastain. 40-1 on Caesars. I said it was an auto bet, pun intended, because it was about 25-1 everywhere else. Caesars was drunk. I believe the line closed on Chastain at about 15-1. So it overcorrected. You can still find 20-something to 1 right around race time. And he was great. It's nice to see him finally get over the hump. He finished top 3 in each of the last 3 races. And he did a great job. So props to him. And yeah, nice hit by me.
Very nice. Well done indeed. James Mount says, "What's good today, gents?" And then he says, "Good afternoon." So it's like he's typing and went, "Oh, fuck, I better say hi." So what's up, James? What's good today? Well, we got some NBA stuff. We got a couple college plays. We can get to those. We'll of course remind everybody that's out there, all 6 of you right now. We're kind of ramp up our viewership here. So I'll tell you guys now, and I'll probably tell you again. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Of course, don't just subscribe to the Winners and Whiners YouTube channel. Please subscribe to our new venture, the partnership with the folks at Picks and Parlays. Put them all together, and we call it Max Wagers Network. So please get over there and subscribe to the YouTube channel at MWN as well. That's hard to say. Max Wagers Network, easy. MWN, I can't get it straight in my head. So, did you have a good day? You have a good weekend? I know you made some serious jack on the NASCAR, but if I know you probably weren't playing it for massive units. So, how'd your basketball stuff go? I know you did well with our phone-in picks for the Clar show, the ESPN Denver show. You did well there. How'd you do on the Final Four stuff, on the Elite Eight stuff?
Overall, didn't really have much action, to be honest. I was kind of just enjoying it. See, I was kind of torn over the weekend because of the fact that I root for North Carolina, but I do appreciate a good underdog story. But North Carolina's in the Final Four now, so I guess I can't be too mad.
Right.
Do I think Duke's going to kill them? Probably. But, I'm still happy my team's one of the last teams remaining. My main takeaway, though, from the Elite Eight and everything, pretty underwhelming, wasn't it?
Yeah, not a lot of excitement, not a lot of.
I mean, the only close game was the Houston-Villanova game, and that game had the winner at 50 points.
Fuck, that was just brutal. That was like...
I didn't watch any of it. I was watching the UFC card, which is actually another nice hit I had. I had a fighter, forgot his name, a Russian guy, to win by second-round submission at 8-1. And he won by second-round submission.
Nice.
So that worked out well, too. But if only I parlayed that with Chastain. But either way...
The weekend of long shots.
Would have been a huge parlay there. But it was really a terrible college basketball weekend. You had the nice St. Peter's upset against Purdue, which I know you had a piece of, which was nice.
I did indeed. Besides
that, every other game... The North Carolina UCLA game was good. That was pretty much it, wasn't it?
Yeah. I kind of enjoyed. I enjoyed watching the Kansas game, just because it was such a dichotomy between the first half and the second half. They just
47-15 in the second half.
Dominated them. Just dominated. I had Will Smith in the first round, says Bronco Devil. I tweeted that right after it happened. I said, how many people had Smith first round submission? So.
Well, he didn't get anything. Chris Rock ate it. It might be a 10-9 on the scorecard, but Rock was still standing.
That's what I'm saying. Oh yeah, that's why he didn't put knockout, because he ate it like a champ. I guess we got to talk about that, huh?
I guess. I don't know if there's really much to talk about.
It's not really sports news, but it is news. It's all You know, we stand on the precipice of nuclear annihilation from the closest we've been in 60 years, and let's fucking talk about Chris Rock and Will Smith. I don't know, man. I thought the funniest part, the strangest part of that, Scott, was it didn't piss him off initially. He was laughing his ass off.
Oh no, that's kind of goes into my point, is that Will Smith, of course, was made the ass of the evening, so to speak, because he's the one that people are going to remember for acting immaturely during the situation. However, I'm completely blaming Jada Smith for what transpired, right?
I think you kind of have to. I think that's, she looks like she kind of put it on him. So, like Rock said, he got hit by Ali and is still standing. I thought that was one of the better tweets of the evening. And there were some good tweets, by the way, Scott. It was a glorious. It was the golden age of Twitter. About 10 minutes for the 10 minutes after.
I think that was one of the best Twitter nights we've had. But JC, I don't know, because you can say there's nothing more humiliating than being slapped by another guy. I thought Chris Rock ended up the winner in that whole situation. Yeah, and I mean, he handled that with a lot of professionalism, and I kind of appreciate that. I mean, so you can make an argument that it was humiliating. I think Will Smith got more humiliated than Chris Rock out of the whole thing in hindsight. It was a weird vibe. It was a weird vibe for the rest of the presentation of that category, obviously. I watched none of it, so that was the only thing that I really know about. I was there. I told you before the show, I went over to my son's house. Him and his girlfriend had a really cool Oscar party with like decorations and fucking movie themed snacks. It was a blast, and filled out our brackets, of course, and. Well, not a bracket, but the Oscar. You did pretty well though in the questionnaire. I did. I cheated. I looked at the odds. So. Well, you didn't cheat. You used proper resources. That's right. So, but congratulations to my daughter who actually won. She did actual research, while I just looked at the odds, and I decided to tank a couple, and there were 4 categories that weren't listed by odds, and those 6 ended up screwing me. I think she had 19, I had 18 of the 23 right. So. Were there any upsets to speak of? Because I'm pretty sure it was mostly chalk. It was mostly chalk. There was a couple where it came down to that was like 1 or 2 of my misses where there was pretty much co-favorites, but there was no huge upsets or anything. I bet on some award shows every now and then. I didn't bet on the Oscars because I haven't watched any of the movies this year. I thought Coda was going to win, so that didn't surprise me. Right. And truth is, I thought Will Smith was basically a lock for King Richard. He was the biggest lock of the night. That and one of the technical categories for Dune. They were both minus 4,000. Yeah, minus 600 though for Richard. That should have been like 2,000. Yeah, it was. I saw kind of an unusual year for me. I told you I saw 3 of the movies on the list, which is a lot for me. 3 more than I did. But that's one thing COVID made me realize. Like, I barely go to movie theaters anymore. Like, I just don't bother. And some of that was COVID because everyone was at home. It's also involved with like streaming services now because a lot of movie companies and everything like that just stream straight to your cable provider, or like you can get HBO Go or some type of Cinemax thing or Showtime thing. So a lot of people don't even go to theaters anymore. But I was the kind of person who would go to theaters for the actual event or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I guess COVID just kind of taught me I don't really care. Like, I just found other stuff that I pay attention to. I kind of fell out on movies. Now, of course, I'll still watch a good one every now and then. But for recent movies, I have so many old classic movies I'm catching up on. I don't have time to catch up on the new ones. I get that. Will Smith is lucky last night that he didn't get stomped. Chris cocked back. Yeah, I kind of thought the same thing. Of course, you have to remember, there is a huge size differential between those 2 guys. Yeah. Chris Rock is tiny. Little dude. Probably 5'5", not quite Prince size, but he's small. So... I think was that a Will Smith joke? No, I'm just saying. Prince, Fresh Prince? No, not the Fresh Prince. No, that was just you meant the actual Prince. Okay. Yeah, you had a chance there, for a double entendre. I know. I let it pass. I think they expect better from us than that, Scott. Bronco Devil says we bootleg everything. There you go. I mean, you don't even have to do that. I mean, I got to tell you, I'm not gonna lie. I had a site and it went away. Where I could watch first-run movies. For me, the only takeaway that I had was that I thought Will Smith, of course, was portrayed in a poor light, but I blame Jada for the whole situation. Okay. So you can read into that how you want, but I feel like that's a pretty accurate way to read into it because let's just say initially Will Smith thought it was funny. The main takeaway I also had from the joke, I didn't know there was a J.I. Jane movie. When did that happen? You never saw that with Demi Moore? No. Not a great movie, but man, she's in great shape. Was that recent?
Holy shit. No, probably 20 years ago.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, is that a new movie? Like Demi Moore. I'm like, she's doing action movies now.
She is not. She didn't do many, but she did that one, and it was
Okay.
It was all
Good
right.
actress.
Yeah. Flickster, dude. I'm not gonna. I don't want to get myself into trouble, but
We're not throwing out any names here.
one of those I understand doesn't work anymore. So, anyway, it's good to be here with you guys. As always, we thank you for stopping by. Of course. We'll get to the sports. I just think, everybody was talking about it. And he's, done a couple sports movies with Ali and everything. I thought that was one of the better tweets is, I guess we found out why Will Smith didn't win an Oscar for Ali. That was a good one. I originally thought it was a punch. I mean, you could say it was a slap, and I know there's some guys in the comment section like, guys, you got a bitch slap. That wasn't a bitch slap. That was a pretty good.
There were some really good paper covers rock jokes there on Twitter, though.
Yep, that was solid. That was
stuff.
Solid as well. So, she was bald, Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
Nice Seinfeld pull. We always give bonus credits for a fucking Seinfeld pull. So
wrong. I was bald.
Is it real? Yes, I believe.
I thought it was
real.
fake initially, but the more it's marinated and the more the reactions have come out, it did seem to be a bit real. I thought initially, the ratings for this thing are always terrible. You do whatever you can. The reactions and everything did seem like it was there was just way too many people that gave genuine reactions, and I don't trust that many people to be actually good at acting. So, no, I think it was actually genuine.
I'm going to tell you something, and for part of my life, I worked in Hollywood. I guess I wasn't exactly a Hollywood elite, but whatever.
You were on the scene.
I was on the scene, sure. I had a cup of coffee. I had a cup of coffee in the Bigs. But anyway, I will say this. Hollywood has no interest in fucking reaching out to middle America or the political middle or whatever you want to define it as. Just none.
No, that's why when everyone gets up, especially, I'm not going to make it political, but when Trump was in power, you had everybody that was just making political speeches. And I don't remember anybody ever asking Meryl Streep for her political opinion. No. They have an agenda and they talk about what they want to. I mean, that's how it goes.
Yeah, it is. And it just, and my family skews, some of my family skews pretty liberal. And I offered some opinions last night that weren't particularly appreciated. And, again, we've got to find some fucking middle ground, guys. Whichever.
That was also Pacino who said something, but the point is that
Pacino absolutely said something.
It's basically an echo chamber. I mean,
yes.
There's just a bunch of people in Hollywood,
yes,
regardless of party, mostly Democrat. I don't really care, but the point is, they say what other people basically want to hear and feel the same way, and they're just going to say it no matter what. I mean, it's a good point by James. They live in a bubble. I mean, I said echo chamber. It's the same idea.
They do live in a bubble. Most of the writers come from East Coast Ivy League schools. A lot of Harvard writers write comedy, obviously, and a lot of the drama writers. Drama writers tend to have a little more real life experience, but most of the comedy, and of course I'm speaking of television, but most of the comedy comes out of Harvard or Princeton or Yale. 80% of the guys. And as far as the actors go, the actors are people with real life experience. Most of them are. Most of them, pretty hard scrabble kind of existence, and some of them got late breaks. But they get out there, and they're just surrounded by people that have a certain view, and that's the way it is. So I'm not saying whether that view is accurate or whatever, but I don't think anything on either extreme is fucking accurate, for starters. So
I don't either. I'm just pointing out the fact that I'm not exactly surprised that, let's just say, somebody got offended by a joke, whether or not they overreacted, whatever. It's also a reason why a lot of comedians are starting to refuse to do stand-up comedy, because it seems to be a dying art because nobody can appreciate comedy anymore.
I don't even know what my act would be like these days. I honestly don't.
I don't know what you can get away with anymore.
Right.
I mean, everyone's so sensitive about everything. You basically are going to offend somebody no matter what.
Right. And I want to be clear. I wasn't like doing 45 minutes of racist jokes, but I do like comparisons of men and women in marriage and things like that, or what I do to my kids, and it's all fucking jokes, but nobody can take a joke anymore. God damn. Okay.
I appreciate good satire, and it feels like satire has been kind of thrown by the wayside at the risk of offending people.
Yep, a little bit. Okay, so if you're joining our show for the first time, this is not normally how we started out. I do want to remind everybody, if you haven't had enough of us, we're going to be doing our baseball shows Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're going to start with the East Divisions.
And today's Monday.
Today's Monday. Yeah, we're going to do an AL East and NL East previews. And let's get to some games, Scott. I know we're going to talk about yesterday's or this weekend's action, but Ninja has been very patient. Wants to know about the South Alabama game tonight. This was I believe it was a pick'em. It swung over to USA -1. Two teams play very good defense here, Scott, as they go up against Coastal Carolina. Both of them can shoot a little bit from distance. Who you like?
This is an interesting spot because South Alabama is playing Coastal, which means you have a rare actual conference battle taking place in one of these tournaments.
Right.
Of course, they're having a bigger one coming up with Duke Carolina over the weekend.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But South Alabama has been really, really good at home. I mean, it's crazy how good they are. The craziest part for me is that Coastal's played 31 games, and yet only 9 of them have been on the road, which I find really weird.
Good time.
But South Alabama's 15-2 at home. I'm taking the Jaguars.
Okay.
I mean, Coastal's 4-5 straight up on the highway. Of course, they have a lot of experience with each other. So I'm going to go with the home team here. That's been 15-2 at home. So give me the Jaguars.
All right. Well, first of all, 4 of those games were absolute shit because they're only 8-5 against the number. So there was only lines in 13 of those 17 games. So
yeah,
just to be clear, but they have owned this series. They have played. Well, they played 4 times, 3 times in the last 2.
Right, this is going to be the 4th, I believe.
Yeah, they played in. They only played once this season, and it was the 17th of February. South Alabama won it.
That's right. They had one that got canceled and they moved it
as the visitor, right? So
yeah,
but they'd won the 2 previous in 21. It's for me, it's South Alabama pass. This is a team I've been on. I've although I have faded at Coastal a couple times to my detriment, but I've got to lean with the home team here.
Yeah, the conference has been a bit weird in the Sun Belt because you had them and Georgia State, and it seemed like both teams were basically treading water for most of the season, and then out of nowhere they kind of just hit a gear, and they've been pretty good for the last couple of months. Mm-hmm. And South Alabama is one of those cases.
Yep, absolutely true. And I will say this: if you like Coastal, I don't blame you. South Alabama failed to cover 5 of the last 6, and so just fair warning on the Blazers. Hey, let's talk about what.
I'm sorry, fair warning on the what?
On the Blazers. Oh, that's UAB. Sorry, on the Jaguars. My bad.
Yeah, okay.
My bad. Getting my Southern schools confused. Well, it was a big weekend, as you and I mentioned, and not just for punching at award shows, but there was actually things that happened in the world of sports. And let's talk about some of them, Scott. Let's talk about the bad news, the good news, the people that took it in the shorts and the people that took it to the bank, the winners, the whiners. You know which category you fall in, but now we're going to tell everybody. Let's start off with the Monday edition of Call the Cops. All right, very good. We're going to start it off. You know what we do here. We're going to start it off in the NBA. If you had the Lakers +4 against the Pelicans, the Lakers, a rare good game, or at least a rare good first half, as they led by 20. Lakers said, we don't really know how to play 2 good halves. And they didn't. They got outscored 67-39 in the second half. That's 28, by the way. They lose by 8. If you had +4, bye-bye. That is just a distant memory. Call the cops on Showtime, would you?
The Lakers are in free fall, and of course LeBron hurt his ankle last night again. So, yeah, not exactly a good situation going on there. No, but if you had some spring training baseball,
Dodgers, I bet it's the Dodgers.
Yeah, we don't judge.
Fucking Dodgers.
You had the White Sox and the Dodgers.
That's a turkey for the Dodgers. 3 in a row.
Over 9.5.
No.
You had 9 runs in the first 5 innings.
Pound the under.
The game ended 9-0. Not exactly ideal when you have a bunch of single-A pitchers trying to fight for maybe some promotion or maybe even a miracle roster spot or so. But 0 runs in the final 4 innings of a game when you're also getting the bottom of the 9th because the White Sox were the road team. That's pretty rough.
Absolutely brutal. And again, the Dodgers have been here 3 times in a row. And to anybody that took notice, you know what the Royals have done since they won that game for us, Scott, on Bet the Farm?
Well, I actually wrote that up originally for Call the Cops for today's show before I found another one. That game against Chicago yesterday was nuts. I don't think they've won since.
They have not. They've lost 3 straight.
Not our problem.
No. Well, we did. I did kind of say, you ought to look into taking the Royals like every game because they.
I think they were up what were they up 9-4 yesterday? They were up 10-4, I think, and the Cubs scored like 9 unanswered or something.
Yeah, it was brutal. Just fucking brutal. So, finally heading to the world of hockey on the frozen pond. If you had the Panthers Maple Leafs under 6.5 goals, at 6 goals with less than a minute left. Toronto scored an empty netter with .4 remaining. Congratulations. That was a meaningless goal, Scott. Oh, no, it wasn't, because the game landed 7. Show note, I actually had that clip located and tried to download it into our system, and for some reason, I was using the ESPN clip, and it did not like that. So I was gonna show that clip because it was like the length of the ice. It was brutal. So
I'm gonna blame Canada.
Blame Canada. Blame Canada.
The game was in Toronto.
As best live Oscar performance ever, by the way. All that hockey hullabaloo and that bitch Anne Murray too. What a great fucking movie. Sorry. Okay. Now I have that song stuck in my head the rest of the day. Congratulations. And we're going to be doing the Blue Jays preview, so I'll be trotting that back out. So there was good news. Of course, there was good news. These are the nice, easy victories. You know who you are. You had the negative perspiration, as the kids used to say, because you, my friend, were sitting in the rocking chair.
So, first one, if you decide to take your winnings from Peacock Day and put it against the Peacocks, North Carolina -8.
Fade them cocks.
You had a nice winner because they led by 19 points at the half. They won by 20. Props to St. Peter's for getting that far, but they really just got their ass kicked from start to finish yesterday.
Oh, yeah. I had that game as well. Not that side of it. Yeah.
It happens.
It does. Yeah. It does. By the way,
Baycott was on pace for about 40 rebounds about 5 minutes into the game, and I'm just like, all right, this is going to be a bloodbath.
Yep, it absolutely was. By the way, if you guys were looking for my video yesterday, apologies. I got home from the Oscar party and found the sick dog. The dog had expressed his anger and not being included in the family plans by chewing up a blanket and swallowing a good portion of it. So we got to take him to the 24-hour vet, as you might guess, very reasonably priced for the services at 2 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, sorry about the no video, guys. I will try to have the capper of the day stuff lined up for tomorrow's video or tonight's video, whatever you look at. So Scott started getting some people stop by when we're doing the video there at late at night. Kind of fun.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to more basketball, shall we? NBA. If you had the Celtics -6.5 against the T-Wolves, no problem at all. No problem at all. They led by 23 at halftime. They won by 22. Congratulations. Oh, God, you got to be an idiot to fade that fucking Celtics team right now, huh, Scott?
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
All right, here we go. Finish it up, buddy.
Well, if you had the Coyotes and the Jets under 6.5, there's only one goal in the first 2 periods combined. Game went to overtime, but of course, you needed a lot more than 1 goal in overtime, which can't happen. Game landed 3.
Yep. You're Jet for life, unless you get traded, and you're not a Jet anymore. All right, finally, Scott, we got to talk about this, man. This is just fucking next level shit right here. It is the Monday version. We don't do it every day, but we do it today, and we're gonna find out who they didn't make us mad, but we were definitely disappointed. Take it away, hockey boy.
So, for this one, if you followed hockey over the weekend, you probably know where I'm going with it. The Pittsburgh Penguins, pretty good at hockey. Detroit Red Wings, not very good at hockey. You might remember earlier this season, they had a crazy game against Toronto, in which I believe they gave up 10 goals, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe that is correct.
The Red Wings decided, you know what, we can possibly do better, or worse, depending on how you look at it, because Pittsburgh scored 11 goals yesterday. 11. And Detroit lost 11-2. How do you give up 11 goals in a hockey game?
About four a period, I guess.
Did the goalie take a coffee break for a period and a half? What happened?
What do you do? Because, you know, they like to pull the goalie in the NHL when they give up 4 or 5 goals. So you pull that guy. The other guy comes in and sucks. What the fuck are you doing now?
Well, the original goalie gave up, I believe it was 7 goals on 25 shots.
Oh, nice. That's.
And then the backup goalie came in, he gave up 4 goals, so he didn't do much better.
Is it like baseball where you bring in like a winger to play?
Are there any Zamboni drivers you could bring in to play
that's
goalie
the
for
first thought,
a period or
obviously.
something?
But yeah, I mean, like, do they bring in some kind of left right winger to put in goal for the last 5 minutes of the game, like they bring in the outfielder to pitch? Like, fuck it.
11 goals though.
Brutal.
That is
Brutal.
ridiculous.
Well, congratulations! If you had the Penguins minus 8.5, yeah, you were sitting in the rocking chair.
If you had the team total over 10.5, hell of a game. Hell of a game for you.
It's a shame there's no correlated parlays there. So that's the weekend worth of action. Mighty Ducks in goalie, very good. Do we?
I don't disagree with that, David. I think one of the hindsight parts of watching the Mighty Ducks again, Goldberg, really, really bad goalie. Really, really bad.
I don't believe I've ever seen the Mighty Ducks. I got to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah.
You've never seen the Mighty Ducks?
I've not seen the Mighty Ducks.
You've had kids. I feel like that's a classic kids movie.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Angels in the outfield, Little Big League, all that shit. Seen that, but yeah, for some reason, just never saw the Mighty Ducks. Nathan Cerna says, "Do we like the Thunderbirds today? Plus 10, Fresno State." I'll tell you what.
I actually do.
Fresno State, that line has gotten pounded, buddy.
What's it at now? It's at 8 now, I think. 7. I know it was 10 last night. I'm pretty sure it's at 7 right now.
Oh, so it's gone the other way. My bad. I thought this started at 7.5 and gone up. No, it's now at 7. So people getting on Southern Utah. There you go. If you got,
I like Southern Utah against Portland, which I gave out on the Clar ESPN thing. Also, I liked them against UTEP a couple days ago. They ended up winning that one outright as a dog. Thunderbirds are pretty good, and we had a question about them going into the actual tournament, if their best player was going to return or not. He has, and they've looked pretty good. So I actually like Southern Utah because they can actually score the ball. You?
Well, I'll tell you what. This Fresno State team, we talked about them. They're second slowest team in the country, next to Virginia, and their defense has been outstanding. I believe they had top 10 defense, at least top 20
for most of the year. Recently, not so much.
That was the point I was going to make. They haven't. That defense hasn't showed up in the 2 tournament games. They've given up 145 points. They gave 74 to Eastern Washington and 71 to Youngstown State. Jesus Christ, come on, guys! It's the Penguins. So yeah, and even before that, they played a 99-point game against San Diego State. But good God, you talk about somebody make a shot, please. The Aztecs are even more intense than that. Fresno State at their bad shooting, but I don't want any part of laying points with Fresno right now. They haven't covered their last 4 games, including both the tournament games. And if you like recent form, you got to take the Thunderbirds. They've won and covered 5 of their last 6. So yeah, fuck yeah, give me all the points you can eat right there. I'll take it.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, very good. Fresno State under 139.5. No, I wouldn't even touch that. I don't. I think it's possible Southern Utah puts up 77 to 80.
They could. I mean, the thing is, Fresno State had an identity, and they stuck to it the entire season. And then it appears right around, really, after they lost to San Diego State in the conference tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say defense has gone out the window, but the intensity just hasn't been there.
Yeah, very good. J.C. Stone, knowing who to ask. Poland or Sweden? Winner headed into the World Cup, loser waiting 4 more years.
Are you asking who I think is going to advance or who I think is going to win in regulation? Because for these type of games where loser goes home, I don't mind betting draw if you think it potentially goes to extra time and you might end up needing an actual decisive penalty shootout situation, whatever. Are you asking about advancing or are you asking about if I had to bet on the 3-way line?
Well, since we don't know, give your opinions on both.
Well, Poland has a lot more offensive firepower. Defensively, they're not great, but Lewandowski, we know, is a fantastic actual goal scorer. And Sweden is mostly a defensive team at this point. Of course, Ibrahimovic doesn't play for them anymore, so they're not exactly as offensively potent as they used to be. Still a decent team, though. They got some decent players, but I'd say I think Poland's going to advance in the end. I don't mind a plus price on draw, though, because when both teams need to win, that also means both teams can't afford to lose. And I expect to see a lot of tight play throughout the majority of this game.
My God, what happens when it's I don't have from you? Fuck, I don't know. I'm
asking just on theory though. When you have a situation where both teams need to win, even in hockey,
one of them's going to win.
No, but what do you see? Usually see a very close game that might go to overtime. Because they both need to win. They both don't want to make any mistakes.
I would say that. I mean, having a passing knowledge of soccer, I would say that they probably play a more defensive game with less attacking in the what do you call it? What do you call it? The forecourt? It's not the forecourt. What do you call it? Upfield? What is it?
Hey, upfield.
The offensive end.
Yeah, that works.
So yeah, I would probably get involved with the under there.
Let me actually see something.
What's the? You're looking at the odds.
JC's telling me Ibra's back. I wasn't aware he was back on Sweden. I thought they left him off the team.
James
let
Mount
me check for a second.
I've heard they have some Ukrainians on the team. I'm assuming he's talking about Poland. Do you know if that's accurate or not?
Could be.
Okay.
Yeah, according to projected lineups, I don't see Ibra in the projected starting lineup. So, are you sure he's back? Is he a sub at this point?
All right. There you go.
Yeah, as far as I don't remember Ibra being in the actual starting lineup. But yeah. I like Sweden a lot more when Ibra actually played a lot because he was my favorite player for a couple of years. But I'm assuming Poland's going to advance, but I don't mind taking plus money on a draw.
Okay, very good. By the way, I reached out to Chris K to do our baseball show. I reached out 10 minutes before our show started. I didn't give him much notice, but you know where he is? He's at the vet. Cat had a seizure. Okay. So it's a bad day for 2:30. You have a pet, Scott?
I do not.
Good thing. James Mount says that was a bad joke. Oh, sorry. Okay, fair enough. I'm taking a travel time. Duke will advance the national championship game where Coach K will cut down the net, says Nathan Cerna.
I mean, we can talk briefly about the opening lines for the Final Four games. I think Duke should be favored by more, and I think Kansas should be favored by more. For Villanova, I actually thought they would potentially win the game. Then Moore got injured, and Moore's one of their best players. He's out for the rest of the tournament. They can't score. If you've watched Villanova play, they've won games, but damn offensively, they're awful. So Kansas, I think, just has too much size. I think they have too much depth. I think Kansas should win. Of course, you got Jay Wright against Bill Self, which is kind of the equalizer. But on paper, with Moore being out, Kansas really should win that game relatively easily. And I know North Carolina beat Duke in the most recent meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Duke won the first game by 30. I think Duke's the better team. North Carolina, I'm impressed with how the guards have played, but they rely on so many bailout jump shots by Love and by Davis. And Manick's been really good from three as well. I just think Duke's a little bit too deep. You could argue motivation angle. I know both teams are in the Final Four, so they're both obviously motivated. But Duke, of course, is, let's just say, a little bit chippy after losing the final home game of the season. So I think Duke should win by more than 4. I think Kansas should also win by more than 4. I like the favorites, but I do think the line should be a bit higher. I think Kansas should be closer to 6. You?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm a lot more. Although, again, this is a Villanova team. You look at them on paper, you're like, I got to fade this team. And then
I like the under.
And then they go out and whoop your ass. You like the under 132.5?
I kind of have to, right? I know Villanova's going to score 60.
Yeah, I don't want to.
I mean, Kansas put the clamps down on Miami.
They did.
Miami's offense was pretty good going in. I know it's a low total and all, but Villanova defensively is really good. And offensively, Villanova's not great. I think that total seems a bit high.
That kid from Oklahoma rolls his joints all right. No, the kid, the McGuster. McGusty. Kid couldn't miss in the Guster's a band. Sorry, Kid couldn't miss in the first half. Couldn't fucking miss. Patrick Dunlap says, I agree the lines will probably move to 5. I don't know. I think there could be enough East Coast Villanova money come in to keep that one.
I don't think so.
You think that?
I think if there was money they're both going to go to 5. If there was money coming in on anybody, I think it would be North Carolina. For an underdog, just because of the fact that it's a rivalry game.
Yeah.
They just won the recent meeting.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I'm sure, are betting on Coach K to win. I don't know if they're betting on Coach K to cover. But Villanova, I think, would get East Coast bias. But with the injuries, I got to assume sharp money's going to pound Villanova leading up to the game.
Yeah.
Pound Kansas leading up
I don't think you're going to see 5 until maybe Thursday. I think it's possible it gets to 5 on Thursday. I think before that you're gonna have a little bit of evenly split money.
If I was asking you though, where you think sharp money is going to come from on the games, I think the favorite in the clubhouse would be Kansas, just based on the injury concerns and the fact that Kansas defensively really hit another gear.
Yeah.
In the second half against Miami. So I do think you'll see a lot of sharp money and public money on Kansas. Maybe some late buyback on Nova. Duke, Carolina, I think there'll be more Duke money, but I think it'll be closer to 50-50. I just expect an avalanche of Kansas money.
Okay. All right. We'll see how that goes. Somebody asking us if we're going to do a Masters show.
I mean, I pulled off a miracle picking Burns a couple weeks ago. I don't know how many I got in me.
Excellent. That's a week from this weekend. For a week from this week starts a week from Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we might. We'll be done with baseball. We'll be done with wrestling, at least for.
I'm just waiting for Tiger Woods' son to start playing competitively, and I'll just bet him every time.
Bronco Devil said I take the points or tease it. Yeah, I'm thinking about that as well. Yeah, Scott, did you got any NBA props? I know we talked a little bit when we were setting up farm. If there was anything that you liked.
Well, I was torn between a couple that I thought about giving out for play today. I was looking at Trae Young. I'm not sure if I liked points or assists though, because he's played Indiana 3 times this season. He's averaging like 38 points per game.
Right.
But he's also an assist magnet, and we know that Indiana defensively is an absolute disaster. The assists are at 10.5. Which seem high. It's really not, based on how he's played recently. But I was a little bit torn because Young has been so good offensively, just scoring the ball. I don't necessarily mind points and assists for Trae Young. I think that he should have a pretty big game there. Besides that, what else do I like? What else do I like? I'm thinking of, if you want to bet on awful basketball, you have Oklahoma City taking on Portland.
Woohoo!
I don't mind Trey Mann over in points because Shea's not playing. And who else is going to do anything offensively? Trey Mann's actually been pretty good recently, pretty good three-point shooter. I know that Pokashevsky takes a lot of shots, and none of them go in, but he takes a lot of shots. I think Trey Mann should have a pretty big night. So if you want to look for a dark horse prop, I don't mind him. Davion Mitchell for Sacramento has been really good recently. Miami's been supposedly good defensively, but recently they've been a disaster. But Davion Mitchell has been pretty good, so maybe look into him as well. But that Trey Mann prop I do like, because Portland we know is terrible defensively, and we know that without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, somebody else is going to have to handle the ball. I think Mann gets a bunch of shots off. I think his point total is probably too low.
1777 memorabilia is in the house, and he brings up an excellent question. Will Jay Wright own Bill Self once again? This is a Kansas team that hasn't had the best of luck against Villanova. In fact, last 25 years, they are 7-1 against the Jayhawks, including owning them recently. Scott, how do you feel about that?
That's the point that I mentioned. I said the only thing that really people have for an argument about taking Villanova is Jay Wright going to coach circles around Bill Self? And it wouldn't be that surprising if that happens. Nope. I think Jay Wright, I said a week ago, is the best coach in all college basketball. And I don't think it's really close. But I have to look at the talent on paper and the fact that even though Kansas usually chokes, they're in the Final Four. Have they played many great teams? Not really. But, they've beaten some people.
Well, we talked about when the bracket started that they had the easiest run. And in anything,
it got even easier.
And it got it got even easier. Correct. So they, I believe, I know this was, obviously I'm friends with a lot of K-State and Mizzou people, and I believe what was floating around on our Twitter was Kansas beat 3 double-digit seeds. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't put it all together, but it didn't seem wrong. So.
Because Kansas played the 16 seed in, no. They played Creighton. They couldn't have played double-digit seeds because they were the 1. So they were playing the 8 and 9, but Creighton was missing its starting center and its starting point
they played
guard.
4 games, so 3 of the other 3 were.
Yeah, I'm saying they didn't play all double-digit seeds, but you can argue Creighton missing its starting point guard and starting center.
Yeah.
Was definitely not exactly a 9 seed. You know what I mean?
KU about stepped on their dick in that game. I mean, they didn't. I mean, they didn't cover, but they did pull away and get the win. But Creighton made it a lot more interesting than they should have.
I mean, Kansas had an easy schedule, but am I supposed to blame Kansas for that? It's not their problem.
Right. And 1777 brings up what we were talking about. Nova only uses 7 players. One of them's out. So.
And now you got foul trouble concerns as well.
Yep, absolutely true. Nathan says, I'm feeling the Dodgers and Guardians day. And I got to be honest, man. I have not looked at preseason baseball.
We looked at the Royals for like one game.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Yep.
I know the Yankees, for the most part, have been pretty underwhelming in spring training.
Yep. Nathan says Kansas has the size and the girth against Villanova.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the girth, Scott.
All about the girth.
Oh, man. So, which of those 4 teams is the most surprising to you to end up in the Final Four?
Based on going into the tournament?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's got to be Carolina.
Okay.
I mean, not just because they're an 8 seed, but because I root for North Carolina, and this team lost by 30 to Virginia Tech in the ACC tournament. Now, I know Duke also lost to Virginia Tech in the ACC tournament, but Carolina got run out of the gym. They lost by about 30. They looked very underwhelming. They were on the bubble before the Duke game that they won in Cameron Indoor. They were almost not in the field, and they had to play Baylor in the second round, which, of course, I know it's a weaker 1 seed because of the injuries, but they were still facing off against a 1 seed. They got lucky they played a 15 seed in the Elite 8, but the answer is North Carolina because you're looking at Duke. They had expectations. I didn't think they were very good. The truth is, the reason why Duke's been really good recently has been Roach. Roach has just been fantastic the entire tournament.
Yep.
But Kansas, I'm not surprised by at all because they had an easy section, and I thought they were actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
Villanova finds a way because Wright's such a good coach. The answer is North Carolina.
Okay. Brings up 1777 brings up another good point. 2 versus 8 minus 4. 1 versus 2, 4.5.
Yeah.
It just shows you how nuts that how much recency bias plays in.
Mm-hmm.
Bronco Devil. I don't know if this is an official number. I mean, if you've got a look ahead number on potential matchups, I haven't checked it out. But he says UNC plus 8 against Kansas.
Well, he said he's teasing it.
So
he's taking a 4-point teaser on both teams.
Oh, okay. I got you. All right, there you go. He's doing a crisscross, Scott.
The whole game's going to come down to, can North Carolina hit enough threes against Duke's zone in the second half? Because Duke defensively was underwhelming, which I've criticized them for. And it seems like they've really taken the approach of using man in the first half and then using zone in the second half. And the zone has given teams a bunch of fits the entire tournament.
Yeah.
So that's the takeaway I have for the most part.
Agreed.
But Carolina can shoot. So the argument is, can Manick, Love, and Davis make enough outside shots to basically force Duke to get out of the zone or just to exploit the zone? I don't know. Because a lot of Love shots that he takes, I can say they're great possessions. He just makes a bunch of shots from the parking lot.
Yep, he really does. He bails them out time and time again. Nathan says, I believe they are all deserving. I'm questioning the spread. I believe UNC will keep it close first half. Dukie's pull away in second half. That's not a bad analysis right there at all. I don't hate it if you wanted to play.
I mean, once again, if I was picking one dog out of those 2 games, I would pick Carolina. Because with the injuries and the lack of athleticism, I know Jay Wright's the better coach. Kansas really should win that game by like 10. They really should.
Now, can they jack around like they did in the first half and for 2 halves? Yeah, it's certainly possible.
Yeah,
certainly possible. But yeah, that's a huge fucking ding when you play a short rotation like that. Of course, a lot of teams shorten the rotation when comes tournament time. Mm-hmm. Teams that consistently use 8, 9, 10 guys will use 7 in the tournament.
But we know Kansas is also very aggressive, whether it's McCormick, whether it's going to be Agbaji, whether it's going to be
Lightfoot.
Martin.
Lightfoot.
They go to the basket a lot.
Yep.
So the point is, if Villanova, and let's just say Gillespie picks up 2 fouls in the first 12 minutes, are they screwed? Kinda.
They're in a lot of
good.
They're in a lot of trouble. Miami played their big man there with 4 fouls yesterday in the second half, and it didn't work out as he picked up his.
They didn't have a choice.
5th one. Yeah, I know. That's exactly the scenario I'm talking about. Is that what you come down to something like that where, you got 9 minutes left. Somebody's playing with, Gillespie in your scenario is playing with 4 fouls. And that certainly gives Kansas an advantage. Not even talking about the foul out potential, just the he's got to lighten up on the defensive end.
And that's Gillespie. I don't even mean the other big men. You can talk about Dixon or anybody because when you have to deal with McCormick and company, and you have to use backup walk-on centers or guys who haven't played, that's also a massive disadvantage.
Yep. This is a terrible time to live in Kansas City too if you're not a KU fan. This is all you fucking hear. It's like it's like the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl or some shit, except it's the team you hate. So, Coach K does something special at the halftime. Like, I don't know what that means. Pulls his dick out.
He switches his own defense.
Yeah, that's what he does.
I mean, that's basically been the story of the second half of the tournament.
Well, as it stands right now, and I don't hold me to this, but I've got both favorites to cover. I think they both take care of business.
I think they do as well. But if you're asking me which side I think you'll see more money on, I think Kansas will be the most bet team leading up to the games.
Could be. Says Nova likes to kill the tempo. Yes, that indeed they do. Play half court.
They also can't score. So that's why I like the under. Because Villanova's not going to go up tempo shorthanded. So they're going to try to kill the pace. But, I mean, damn, man, Moore's one of your best offensive players. I
just would feel so much better if this was like 136. I just hate that 132.5. I really do.
Do you like Villanova team total under?
Yeah, I don't hate that. I'd probably lean more towards that than I would. Because, like I said, I think Kansas could put up 75 plus. So
they could. I'm not sure Villanova's going to get to 60.
Yeah, I know. I get it. But, even if they don't, even if they get to 59, KU gets mid-70s, you're still beat. Mm-hmm. All right. Lightfoot is a baller. That dunk he did against Miami. Yeah, he's got quite the hops, that Lightfoot.
I mean, he's been working on those hops with the coaching staff for about 9 years.
Mitch Lightfoot, 37 years old. I don't know how many people knew that, but
37 years old, going for his first title.
Absolutely.
All-time leader in Kansas minutes, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that's not surprising.
I know, because he's been there for about 2 decades.
Kansas Final Four, 02, 12, 22. So get ready for 10 more years.
He has about 7 Letterman jackets.
Oh, man. I don't know. That's God bless him. I know guys that stayed in college 6 or 7 years and weren't fucking playing any sports. So when Kansas wins, I can't wait to do a Reichel, I told you so, and a retweet. There you go.
I mean, I didn't tweet anything out, so I'm just saying I think that Kansas is in a really great spot to make it back to the title game.
1777. Memorabilia says all kinds of turnovers in the Miami-Kansas game. It was like 2 games in 1. It absolutely was like 2 games in 1.
Yeah.
It was the McGusty game, and then it was the KU game. So
I think that's the concern I have for Villanova as well, is that Kansas, especially defensively, they achieved a gear that I didn't know they had.
Yeah.
I know that Kansas was really good. I watched them beat Tech in the conference title game. Kansas impressed me. I had them in my Final Four. That's the only team I got right in my Final Four. But defensively, I didn't know they could do that.
Nope.
That was something.
No, and they've been playing good defense throughout the tournament, with the exception of the Creighton game, where they just kind of went to sleep. But other than that, they've given up, and even not been to the Big 12, they've given up 65 or less in 8 of their last 9, 7 of their last 8. So yeah, this is a defense that can play. They can flat out ball. I see the attraction of the under. I'm just worried about KU. I would probably.
I'm looking at team total for Villanova.
I would take team total for KU too. I would probably. What are you're looking at?
I don't want to touch that for Kansas because I just think pace alone, Villanova's going to kill it. But the pace should be slow anyway, and Villanova's shorthanded, and Kansas is playing great defense. There's a lot to like about Villanova's team total under.
Yep, there you go. What just happened? Said, "Hey Scott, sorry I'm late." You have a note? You have some kind of a note? What the hell, man? People just popping in whenever. What the hell? All right, buddy. Well, let's get to it, shall we? It's that time. Don't forget, again, we're going to be doing our baseball show right after this. We're going to be taking a look at the AL East and the NL East. Put me in, Coach. I'm ready to play. Scott, I know we have a special deal over there with the fine folks at Caesars. And what's the deal on that again? Can you tell me? I still don't have my email fixed, by the way. I was supposed to uninstall and install this afternoon, so I'm sure that will go perfectly with my grasp of technology.
So if you bet on a team
in
March Madness,
all right,
and they score 1 point,
okay,
you make $200.
That's pretty good. That's
a pretty good deal.
That's probably going to happen, right?
I think it will.
Okay. How much do you have to? Is there a minimum? You got to bet what? $10? What do you got to put?
Well, you're going to make me pull up information now.
Sorry, I thought you had it. I think it's $10. It's not nothing.
Well, I'll get back to you on that.
Okay, good chat. So yeah, definitely check out the good folks at Caesars. You know the drill. It's available only where Caesars is available. Check your state for details. And of course, you must be 21 to play. So,
you bet $20+ on a men's college basketball game. You get a $200 free bet if your team scores a point.
There you go.
Promo code WAWMAR2.
There you go. Winners and Winers MAR. I don't know what that is, but
I'm assuming that's March 2.
Oh, March. There you go.
March.
Oh, I like it. Okay.
There you go.
WAWMAR2, and we'll have the details in the video tomorrow. We don't have them in there today, so. All right, buddy. Let's get to it. That's why I had to turn off the camera for a second. I had to get my wardrobe ready. You got yours ready?
It's always ready, man.
Okay. I know you're probably wearing it outside the house, aren't you?
Of course. Got to stay, got a lot of sun outside. It's technically spring. Got to get some shade.
My wife saw that screenshot with you and I from last week with where we both have our chapeaus on and said you look like a gardener in Florida.
Works for me, man. Works for me.
All right, here we go. Just sort of like there'd be a fire and the game cancels. Hey, Bronco, come on now. Gotta have a little.
Bronco, they continued that Raptors game though, so it would have been a ridiculous beat, but they actually resumed the game.
That's right. So, let's talk about it, buddy. It's Monday. It's time. You guys know the drill. It is time once again to put your overalls on, get your straw hats out. I expect everybody to have their straw hat by now. You think Amazon's like, why the fuck are we getting a run on straw hats? That's so weird.
It's gonna be a top 50 item.
Absolutely. We're taking it up the ladder, guys. Get your straw hats on. Get out those keys with the lucky rabbit's foot. Climb aboard your John Deere and fire that mother up. Because once again, kids, it is time. What is the time, Scott? It's time to bet the farm. All right. Hey, calm down there, Cash Cow. Calm down, Cash Cow. All right, here we go. I got to get my Gary Moore earpiece up there. God bless you if you're old enough to know who I'm talking about. Scott, I know we did have a Bet the Farm play on Friday. It involved an NCAA tournament game, and how did that go?
We had a player prop on Eater, our boy, to have over 9.5 points. Got fouled with 3 seconds left, hit both free throws, finished with 10. Never in doubt.
Never a doubt! Yeah! There you go, guys. So we're going to see if we can keep the hot streak going with today's action. As we mentioned at the top of the show, who would ever bet against this red-hot Boston team right now? You want to know who'd do it? We would do it. How about those Toronto Raptors minus the 8 points, kids? Why would we do such a thing? Well, funny you should ask, because the Raptors, they've been playing very good basketball. Yeah, God dang it, I didn't put them in, Scott. I didn't add them in. So you're gonna have to trust me on this. Raptors, they've won and covered 8 of their last 10. They have won those 8 games by an average of 10.8 points per game. And this is perhaps the oddest NBA stat you're going to find as far as a betting stat goes, because when they win, they cover. How much? Well, they are 42-32 straight up. They are 41-32-1 against the number. That is just fucking phenomenal right there. Raptors defense been playing pretty well, giving up 103.8 points per game in their last seven. And kids, we have saved the best for last, and this is the reason that attracted us to this play, because Boston is going to be without 4 starters. Tatum, Brown, Horford, and Williams will not suit up tonight. I'm not even sure they made the trip across the border. Speaking of across the border, Boston not in a great travel spot, as they are in the second game of a back-to-back, and they had to travel to Canada, which always brings in extra fun there, checking in at the border and whatnot. So we are going to take advantage of that down spot for Boston, a game that they probably should be writing off, and I think they will. We're going to take the Toronto Raptors minus the 8 points, and that's going to do it for the Bet the Farm play. Scott, any thoughts on that one?
Just one quick comment. Roland mentioning Brown might be playing or they might rest him. They've already announced they're resting him. So Brown is not going to play.
There you go. There you go. Get down because there'll be no Brown. And yeah, it's going to do it for us. That's going to do it for the show. It's going to do it for part one of our doubleheader. Don't forget to check out the second leg of our doubleheader here in just a few minutes as I get the show set up, as we do our previews from the American League East and the NL East. And since it's the second game of doubleheader, Scott, we're going to start with a runner on second base. So just to let you know.
Fantastic.
All right. You guys, hopeful to see you there in a few minutes. And as far as this show goes, that's a wrap, kids. Thanks very much for stopping by. Thanks for joining us on this Monday. We do this every day, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. Scott and I do our very best to help you guys in the never-ending journey to head back to the window. Take care, everybody. We will see you tomorrow.